and a salvation for the people who need them, the people who need them at most. So I would like to ask Rabbi Shmuel from Las Cruces to please share, please say with us a Kapitel Tillim. And okay, a second. How do we do this?
We're going to begin. Thank you, Rabbi Han. We're going to first do it together in Hebrew, and then we will do it together in English. Please join me together on the Hebrew side. It should be up on your screen. Lam natseyach mizmar leDavid, yancha Adonai b'yay mitzara, yisagevcha Shem Elehei Yaakov, yishlach ezrecha mikaydesh, umitziyayin yisadeka, yizkar kol minchaisecha, vaylascha yidash nesela, yiten lecha chilvavecha, v'chol atzascha yimalei, niranina bishuasecha, uv'shem Eloheinu nidgal, yimalei Adonai kol mishalei secha, ata yodaiti, ki haishia Adonai mishichai, yanehu mishmei kodshai, bigvurais yesha yaminai, eile varechev, ve'eile vasusim, va'anachnu b'shem Adonai Eloheinu naskir, heima karu v'nafalu, va'anachnu kamnu v'nisaydad, Adonai haishia, hamelech yanenu v'yayim karenu. I'll ask you to please join me together as we do this in English as well. Say the Psalms wherever you might be in your house. Please join us as we all are able to say the special Psalm 20 together. For the conductor, a song of David. May the Lord answer you on the day of distress. May the name of the God of Jacob fortify you. May he send your aid from his sanctuary, and may he support you from Zion. May he remember all your meal offerings, and may he accept your fat burnt offerings forever. May he give you as your heart desires, and may he fulfill all your counsel. Let us sing praises for your salvation, and let us assemble in the name of our God. May the Lord fulfill all your requests. Now I know that the Lord saved his anointed. He answered him from his holy heavens with the mighty acts of salvation from his right hand. These trust in chariots and these in horses, but we mention the name of the Lord our God. They kneel and fall, but we rise and gain strength. O Lord, save us. May the King answer us on the day we call.
Okay, thank you so much, Rabbi Schmuckler. I do want to welcome, I also want to welcome the community from downtown Seattle. Thank you so much for joining us. I would like to ask Rabbi Levitansky to share with us a few words. Let's see if we could find it. 1 second. There we go. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. So I did want to say, first of all, I am look at all these Chabad houses that came from around the country. We're all thinking about you. We can't stop thinking about you. You're in our minds and our hearts. We are at awe of your dedication, of your commitment. And I don't know you too much, but whatever I know about you is, I'm very inspired. I did want to say this. I know you told me that I shouldn't ask the Chabad rabbis to give anything, but I didn't listen to you. And I asked all of them to give, and they all gave generously. And collectively, just the Chabad rabbis, everyone who's listening needs to listen to this. We all gave close to $7,000. And I'm going to post a link on the bottom and listen to the story. Open your hearts. You're inspired, do a mitzvah and participate. It goes a long, long, long way. So I want to start with, I guess the one way to start the conversation is, how did you end up in Sumy Ukraine? On a good day, Sumy Ukraine is far from Santa Monica, Simcha Monica, California, where you grew up. So it's a, can you tell us a little bit about how you ended up there?
I see everybody is getting to know the geography of Ukraine. So first of all, thank you for having me. I don't know what time it is for all of you guys out there. Here it's 3:45 in the morning, and we're still under curfew. I'm waiting for 6 o'clock so we can start moving around. The one thing that I think most of us have in common is, and I say this, I guess, for the rabbis, but everyone on, is we live in a community that's not extremely large in size, maybe large in its impact. Maybe it's has a lot of qualitative things, but we struggle for a minyan. We try to find one more Jewish person in town and one more mitzvah. And this really has an incredible impact on the rabbis. I'm speaking from the rabbi side, because it makes us really feel like we're one family. The reason why I'm starting with this now and not answering your question, Rabbi Han, sorry, is because coming from a place like Los Angeles, California, Simcha Monica, California, where there's the communities are much larger. You're dealing with hundreds of people at a time. You don't have the time to focus in on the individual, and you don't always get that feeling of community in a real family way. Today was actually the first time in a long time that that my kids saw me crying. It was it's come to a point now that we have to make a decision if we're going to continue staying here, or we're going to go westward to find other places to be where it's a little safer. A lot of the shluchim who were here up until yesterday, not in Sumy, but around Sumy, Kharkov and Kremenchuk and Poltava. Where's that map again? Chernigov. These are all my neighboring cities. Each of them is about 200 kilometers, about 3-hour drive from where I am. You don't have them all. You just have Kharkov. Okay. So they all pretty much left yesterday because the bombardments, the devastation which is happening within the cities from the air is just it's becoming unbearable. And one of the hardest things for us is to leave our communities. The people here are hunkering down. They're in their basements. They're not looking to leave. They're afraid to travel on the roads. I must say, I'm afraid myself. If I do leave, to go on the roads, they're constantly shooting from all sides. Literally a war zone all around. So it hit home. It really hit home. I started thinking about the possibility that we might have to leave, and it's leaving family behind. It's literally leaving family behind. The fact that I'm here up until now has given my community so much strength and courage and comfort. People telling me the whole time, Rabbi, thanks for being here with us. Everybody left us. The Israeli consulate left, the American consulate left, all organizations left a week ago or more. And you're here with us and you're giving us strength, etc. And it's a very difficult move. How did I get to Sumy from Simcha Monica, California? Is in short, because the Lubavitcher Rebbe has taught us that we need to look around and find places where we're needed most, and do what we need to do in those places. That's the shorthand of the answer to that question. I was in Kharkov in 1995 and 1996 as a yeshiva student, and I got to know the community there and the Jewish people here. And it was just after communism then. Communism had just fallen. People were thirsty for Yiddishkeit. There was a vacuum of thirst to know something, to learn Aleph Beis, to learn how to daven, how to pray, how to put on tefillin. I watched people in those 2 years that I was there. I watched people go from starting with Aleph Beis and going off to learn a yeshiva. You didn't have to make a flyer or an announcement or phone calls to get people to come. Word of mouth just brought thousands of people coming to the shul for anything, for whatever you were doing. And it until today, the Jews who live here, they have a passion for Judaism. They want to know what it is, they want to learn, and they want to see the truth. Even if they're not up to doing everything, they like to see authenticity. They like to see the truth, and it hits home. It's very rewarding to work with the community here. And I'm here now 17 plus, almost 17 and a half years. We've built up this community literally from scratch. We have a nice shul, which is the original shul that was built in 1914 and then taken over by the communists until 1999, when they gave it back to the community and it was in shambles. In 2004, we rebuilt the shul. We have a preschool, after-school program, a mikvah. We have classes, daily classes, weekly classes, classes for students, for men, all the clubs, bas mitzvah, bar mitzvah, all of what you have in any Chabad community around the world. And it's an unbelievable thing to watch how a community, and I'm not the only community in Ukraine, one of the smaller ones, but to watch how communities are being literally destroyed, people running for their lives, and nobody knows if or when they'll be able to come back. So that's, I guess, a little bit of an answer to your question.
Wow. Rabbi Levitansky and Menachem Landa here from Novato, California. We actually had you on Zoom a year and a half ago, and we were able to hear how beautiful of a community you have. So thank you for explaining that. We have just around 700 people on Zoom now, many more on YouTube, watching as you inspire us. As you mentioned, you are there and you give support and strength to your community. And just being there is an amazing support to them and a strength to them. Where do you get your strength from to carry on when you see bombardment around you and you cry and you're trying to hold back in front of your children? Where do you get your strength from to continue?
I'm going to have to answer that very honestly. I don't know. The truth is, I get a lot of strength from the Lubavitcher Rebbe, knowing that I'm a shliach of the Rebbe, an emissary of the Rebbe, gives me strength to continue on. Knowing that I'm doing something good, I'm getting a lot of strength, as well as, I should say, my community and my city. All of the people, non-Jews alike, are getting incredible strength from you guys around the world. People are watching the Jewish communities around the world on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. They're watching how people are praying, people are doing all kinds of things in support of the people in Ukraine. And the word out on the street, and I hear it, I've been hearing it since, I would say, since Friday. Every day that I'm in the stores trying to buy whatever I can, so that, you know, my community should have whatever they need. I'm out in the streets delivering packages or goods, whatever it is. People are coming up to me and they're praising me. Thank you. Thank the Jewish people. You guys are keeping us strong. It's only because of you that we're making it. You guys watch the news more than I do. I try to not watch what's going on around me. It keeps me a little naive about where I am. And apparently it's incredibly miraculous that what the Ukrainian people are doing, and how this entire thing is turning around. And the people on the ground feel that it's because of the Jewish people's prayers all around the world. We have Ukrainian Orthodox priest in our town. I'm pretty close with everybody. We actually have a Jewish priest as well, but that's another story. That's not for today. But this priest is involved with humanitarian aid. So we've been working together now the past few days with humanitarian aid. And he told me that he's been telling his community that we're seeing miracles that you only read about in the Bible. And that's because these miracles happen to the Jewish people, but they're happening to us because the Jewish people are praying for us. So you guys, whatever you're doing, you're giving us the strength and the courage to continue on and to do whatever we have to do to survive in this situation.
Rabbi Levitansky, Mendy Kievman from Chabad in Milford. I know you a little bit longer. We know even before 1995 when we were young teenagers in yeshiva. Now we're just a little older, younger people. You talked a lot about, I know you as the ultimate chassid, and you've always had a positive outlook on life. But now your children are going through something. I know you touched on it a little bit, but could you tell us how are your children coping with this? They must have questions that are difficult to answer, even for someone as positive as yourself.
Yeah, okay. First of all, the ones who are taking it the hardest are the 5 oldest that are out of the country learning in yeshiva and high school, seminary, all over the world. 1 in New York and 2 in Israel and 1 in France and another 1 in Belgium. And they're really upset that they're not here with the action, even though if you're here, you're just locked in your basement and you don't have any action. But they feel like they're out of it. You know, the family is kind of, you know, in 2 places, and they're feeling it more than anybody else. The ones that are here, the 4 younger ones, actually are up until Thursday, nobody was talking about anything, even on the streets. The only reason why I knew that there might be some kind of war was because I was getting calls from all over the world asking me if I'm leaving and when I'm leaving and when are they invading our city, Sumy. If you look at the map again, you'll see we're right on the Russian border. We're a half-an-hour drive to the border crossing. In good times, when I came here in 2004, that border was more open than the border between United States and Canada. I don't know how it is today, but when I was a kid, you could walk through, you know, or United States and Mexico, right? There's nothing there before the wall. There are cities in the Sumskaya county. If you see that dot, Sumy, so yeah, all the way up until the end of the Russian border. That's all Russian border on Sumy County, and there are cities that run. How should I say this? The border runs between the city in the city. So there's a street where the houses on one side are Russia and the houses on the other side are Ukraine. And there's nothing in between them until 2014. In 2014, they started putting up fences down the street, in the middle of the street. They closed off the street and put a fence down the middle of the street. and you have neighbors who have been neighbors for I don't know how many years, and now they have to go through a border crossing. So we're literally on the border. So when this all started, nobody was expecting it. I think a lot of people are still in denial. I'm certainly in denial. I cannot imagine that something like this could happen in 2022. It's enormous. It's such a devastation, loss of life and suffering of so many people for absolutely no reason that anybody can understand. And we're talking about neighbors, brothers, cousins, like people who've been living together for years. So nobody expected it. Thursday morning, we had a siren go off. I had the head of the Secret Service, I guess the equivalent of the FBI over here in America, called me about 10 minutes before to give me a heads up that they have information that the Russian army has crossed through the border. And then 10 minutes later, we had the siren go off. I never knew that Sumy had a siren. I didn't know we were that advanced. You know, people don't have running water in their home, and electricity goes off here and there. So whatever. But the siren went off, and the first thing that came to my mind was, what am I going to tell the kids now? So I made an announcement, and I said, "That's the siren. That's the shofar of Mashiach. Mashiach is here, and they're sounding the shofar." For my kids, technically nothing really changed. They're in the online school, so it's not like school was canceled for them. We still have internet, which is a miracle in and of itself. They log in online, they go into school, they have their school day, and the only thing that really changed in the past few days is that when there are bombardments, we have to go down to the basement, and that does put fear in. And when at a certain point the conversation came up that people are leaving and maybe we should leave, my 12-year-old started saying Hafgana. Okay, they learn in Hebrew on the online school. He's making a demonstration. We're not leaving. We're protesting. How can we leave the community? And my 6-year-old says, if we leave, then that means we don't trust in Hashem. We don't have trust in God, because we think that He can't protect us here. It's been a challenge to deal with the children, but thank God they are picking it up, and this is a reality. We try, again, we don't watch too much of what's going on, so thank God they don't really see most of what's going on. They do hear about it, and we still have our classes online, and people bring it up and speak about it, and we just we try to give them a little bit more attention so that they should feel that we're here for them, and they should have a lot of faith in Hashem. My 6-year-old is singing all day long, I believe in Hashem, I trust in Hashem. I don't know if everybody knows that song, Rabbi Rebbitzin, and that's her motto. She's been writing it on papers, and we trust in Hashem, and Hashem is going to save us. So that's as far as children are concerned.
Thank you, Rabbi Levitansky. It's Yisrael Hahn from Spokane again. What do you say?
I said we met before.
Yes. Can you give us a little bit? We're so far removed from the world you're in. Sounds like even on a good day, especially during a war. Can you tell us what's going on in the streets of what happened, and kind of bring us into your reality?
I'm going to abstain from answering that completely. Honestly, I don't know how much I should really say on this kind of a platform, but I can say that the last 2 days, the surroundings have been completely demolished. I'm in touch with a lot of the different people who are on the ground and people who are doing social services, etc., and contemplating if it's safe to leave the city and go westward. And a lot of the issue is that roads have been completely demolished, completely destroyed. So you can't even get to certain places. Bridges have been blown up. The scenes, the pictures that are coming out of small little shtetl, little cities in the Sumskaya region are horror scenes. It's literally straight out of the Second World War. It's you can't believe that it's really happening now, like as we speak. It doesn't make any sense. We in our community, thanks to COVID of 2 years, we've pretty much mobilized a volunteer group that goes around and delivers hot meals, delivers food packages, etc. So when this started, and a lot of people didn't have a chance to run to the store and be there on time to get what they need, we have connections with a lot of the warehouses and a lot of the store owners, and we were able to get all different kinds of products that we put together and went around the city delivering to people who are in need. We've been flooded with calls on a constant basis from Jews, from non-Jews, people that are living in America and Canada, Israel. I have a grandmother, she's in her apartment alone. There's nobody taking care of her. She's hungry, she doesn't have what to eat. She has no way to get out of, she's scared to leave her apartment, or she can't leave her apartment. Another man in our community who's on dialysis called me yesterday. He's not feeling well. He wasn't able to go for dialysis for a few days already, and now he needs a blood transfusion. And he called the clinic, and the clinic told him that they can't give him blood transfusion. It's being saved for soldiers, and there's no way that he can get it. We've been in touch with the head doctor of the city, who was able to get us the blood transfusion for a nice, pretty penny, I should say. But he was able to get it, and so on and so forth. It's been very, very difficult to get around. There's curfew from 6 in the evening to 6 in the morning, and curfew here means that, unfortunately, if someone is out in the street and he's not identified, they don't ask questions. It's been very difficult. It's been very, very difficult to get around, very difficult to find products. The stores are practically empty by now. Yesterday they were rationing bread. You could only have 1 loaf of bread per person. Scenes of the war. Scenes. I can't explain it. This is what we read about in the history books. Stuff that nobody ever dreamt of in real life. It is horrific. It's literally it's horrific to watch. There are certain parts, certain cities. Again, you guys are watching the news more than me, but Kharkov, the shluchim in Kharkov, yesterday pretty much ran for their life. Bombs were falling on the street of their home. Buildings blowing up right across the street from where they live, non-stop. Not like 1 bomb falling. I'm talking about hundreds of bombs, cluster bombs falling on on apartment buildings. For anyone who knows the setup of communist Russia cities, the apartment buildings, or homes as they're called here, are built around certain areas that have some kind of a factory. So you have I don't know, in Sumy we have the pump factory, and anybody that lives around the pump factory area, they have a whole residential area, which is called the Spalny Rayon. That's like the sleeping area. And then there's the commercial area where the factory is. And the residential area is literally, it's residential. There aren't even stores. They're little mom and pop shops maybe, but not like large stores. And these areas, all there is, there might be preschools, schools, and apartment buildings. That's what there is. And you're talking about, 50,000 people, or in Kharkov, it could be an entire area of 200,000-300,000 people. And bombs are just raining down from the sky, exploding on these apartment buildings. It's just incredibly, I don't know. It's not a scene from. It's not even. You don't dream about these things.
Rabbi Levitansky, just before we continue, I just want to welcome two other Chabad houses: Chabad of South Shore, Boston; Chabad of Capitol Hill, Seattle. I did want to ask you a question. When your basic necessities run out, where are you going to get things like bread, sugar, flour, pasta, toilet paper, and what does it cost? What is involved? What does that mean?
You're asking a very good question. I don't have the answer to that question. I only have the problem of that question, and I'm dealing with it on a daily basis. I could tell you that as of yesterday, it's been very difficult to get products. Thank God we managed to get things for people in the community fast enough so that they have things in their homes. They're also spending a lot of time in the bomb shelters. I may add that bomb shelters here means a bomb shelter that was built during the Second World War and has not been used or opened ever since then. So it's I can't even describe what it is. It's just a sewer, maybe. I don't know. It's a hole in a basement. It could be any, some place somewhere, and people are crammed in there. They come with their blankets. It's very cold. We're still in our winter, and it's at night it gets to -5 sometimes Celsius, but still it's very, very cold. And these bomb shelters don't have heating, they don't have running water, they don't have anything. It's just, and people have to spend the entire night there. It's hard. It's very hard. How are we going to get supplies eventually? That's one of the things which is, I should say, is pushing me to leave, is because I have access to funds. Thank God, from the outpouring of support from around the world, has given us access to funds and has given us access to connections to different organizations or companies that are bringing things from all over the place. So we have a little bit of pull, and we're able to fight for our communities and for our cities. If I'm in the city, it's going to be much harder for me to get a hold of those things. If I'm on the other side of Ukraine, on the western side, it'd probably be easier for me to send things this way, knowing that even humanitarian aid that's going to come through will probably come through from Europe, and that's about 1,000 kilometers from here. on a good day, that could take anywhere between 14 or 16 hours of driving. So even a truck that's coming this way on roads that are already bombed out and you have to drive around all over, it's going to take them at least 2 days to get here from that side of town. And by that time, they might not have anything left. So yeah, we're at that stage. Sumy has been surrounded by Russian forces from day one of this invasion. We're right on the border, and we're a small city, so it's not like Kharkov, which they're still fighting for. Sumy was surrounded, and a lot of the cities in the Sumskaya region were just, surrounded and put into a siege for all intents and purposes. And they've tried to come into the city a few times, and there's street fights, battles, whatever it is. They get pushed out. A tank gets burnt on this side, a tank gets burnt on that side. People are. It's incredible to see how the Ukrainian army is fighting with their hands and feet, literally, against the second largest army in the world. And we're now in day 7. I think we're already starting day 8 of this, whatever you want to call it, campaign, invasion, whatever. And as of a few hours ago, I think I was still in Ukraine. It's miraculous. It literally is a miracle. One of the rabbis was saying that this is, we're in Adar. It's the time before Purim. We're seeing miracles. One of my congregants came on Friday to put on tefillin, and he said on his way coming here, he noticed that the billboard, one of the billboards we put up for Hanukkah, was still up. I honestly don't know why it's still up, but I guess they didn't have something to put in its place, so it's still there. So he said he was driving here to put on tefillin, and right in front of him he sees the billboard, Happy Hanukkah, and he said, Rabbi, God is sending us a message that we're going to have a happy Hanukkah. It's the Hanukkah miracle, the many in the hands of the few, and the oil that lasted forever. We're going to have miracles, and they really have a lot of faith and trust in Hashem that we're going to be able to come out of this in a good way, in a peaceful way.
Rabbi Levitansky, just part of the miracle is I'm watching you, and you wouldn't know that he's in the middle of a war. He's in siege, and it's 3:30 a.m. It's like you're like an incredible miracle on your own, besides for everything else.
Don't believe me. It's a facade. My face is.
We're drawing inspiration from you. Now look at that link I posted, folks, and donate. Take your credit card out and put something in there, and then share it with your friends and in social media as well. This is the information you get here. You won't get anywhere else. Okay, I do want to welcome Chabad of Bainbridge Island, Washington, and Southern Oregon, who is joining us as well. Okay.
Hello, Rabbi Levitansky. My name is Rabbi Levi Lizell from Chabad of South Shore in Boston, near Boston, Massachusetts. So first, like Rabbi Hahn said, amazing. Just hard to believe that what you're going through and the inspiration you're giving us to see your obvious trust and faith in God, and standing strong and being a leader in your community. So one of the things that comes to mind and thinking about the situation, there's first of all, what is the general feeling there as far as what do they think is going to happen? What do they feel? Do they feel it's going to continue? Is it going to end soon? Do they feel like they're going to be chased out? And how do you feel, even yourself? Do you feel like you'll be able to stick around? Of course, we pray that, as we say about the prophecies of the spears and swords being turned into plowshares. So hopefully all that ammunition and everything will be turned for good in some miraculous way. But what kind of more realistic, or what are people's feelings? Do they feel that there will be some kind of miraculous or some kind of ending of this kind of persecution in their life?
Yeah, the people over here are incredibly courageous, and I want to say something. The just the local people. I'm talking about not my community. People, my neighbors, people on the street. I walk to shul from my house. I have to go through the marketplace, which on a regular Shabbos or Sunday is packed with thousands of people. And I walk through, and I'm obviously not dressed like everybody else here. Nobody has ever called me a name. I only get respect from people on the street. People come up to me and they'll say, Batushka, blagoslavi меня, which translates to Father, please bless me. And I know that many people have this stigma that Ukrainians are anti-Semitic. There's a lot of stuff in the news going around about how this might be, we're clearing out the anti-Semites. From someone living on the ground, I'm here more than 17 years. I haven't been called a name once. I haven't had any issue. We have a public menorah every Hanukkah that's up in the square for 8 days of Hanukkah, and the mayor and the governor come to light the menorah. Nobody has ever touched it. Nobody's ever said anything. People are extremely positive about it. Everybody knows that we have a Jewish president. He was elected not because he's Jewish. The fact that he's Jewish had nothing to do with his election, and it's not even an issue. People don't bring it up almost. It's brought up more by the Western media, who are so surprised that Ukraine could have a Jewish president, but on the street, people don't even give it any thought. The people here are extremely hospitable. One of the most difficult things for me to do is visit people in their homes, because when you come to somebody's house here, they put out a spread, and they get offended if you don't sit down and eat with them and say l'chaim, and and obviously it's not kosher, and I could tell them beforehand, please don't put out anything, just fruit, just whole fruit, and that's it. And then when I come and they're like, yeah, sure, no problem. We understand. You come into the house and there it is, an entire table full. And I made it in my frying pan. It's kosher. I can tell you what the ingredients are. And they get offended because you're not joining them. They're extremely hospitable people. And although in our history books we read about the anti-Semitism of Ukraine, and we read about all different pogroms, etc., and that's all true. It's all real. In today's day and age, it's not that way on the streets. And I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. In every country, in every city, there are rotten apples, and there are people that cause trouble. But in general, it's not. The feeling on the street today, when I go out on the street every day, people are encouraged by the fact that Jewish people are praying for them around the world. They feel that this is what's saving them. They feel that this is what's keeping them going. That's what it is. That's the real feeling out there on the street. And what's happening is that, and this I can tell you for myself, it's a very humbling feeling. You see that I'm very calm. And like you said, I'm talking to you, and you wouldn't know that, that bombs are going off or there's shooting on the street. And I could tell you that I went into this mode pretty much it was Friday. That's really when Thursday was nerve-wracking. We didn't know what to expect, what's happening, what's going on. Thursday night was the first time that we heard actual shooting. I went up to my attic and I opened the window and I can hear the echoes of shot, the way you hear it in the movies, just like, right out of it's just incredible. And you don't know where they're shooting or who's shooting who. That was Thursday night. Friday was also very nerve-wracking. We didn't know what to expect. And then we got instructions that Friday night is curfew, 6 o'clock, all lights have to be out. Shabbos candle lighting here was a little after 5. And we had a Zoom on Friday afternoon. We always have a Zoom with our community since Corona started. And I told everybody that we've been hearing people firing in the streets over here, and we're going to return fire, because when people are firing at you, you need to respond with fire. And the fire we're responding with is the Shabbat candles. In Hebrew, Shabbat candles are Nerot Shabbat Kodesh. And the abbreviation of that is Neshek. Neshek is ammunition in Hebrew. And I said, our ammunition is that we're going to light Shabbat candles, and we're going to pray during this time of lighting Shabbos candles that peace and harmony is going to come into the world, because the Shabbat candles are meant to bring peace into the home. We turned off all our lights because we weren't going to turn off our lights later after Shabbos came in. So we had to turn our lights out early. We lit Shabbos candles, and we spent the Friday night the way they spent it in the times of the Talmud, when it was by candlelight. And it was so surreal, quiet. There was no shooting, there were no sirens. The entire Friday night, I thanked everybody that's involved in this whole operation for allowing me to sleep soundly for the first time in a few nights. And we woke up in the morning, Shabbos morning, and it was quiet. Shabbos afternoon, we sat down to eat, and I told my kids that there was a ceasefire. There must have been a ceasefire. We lit Shabbos candles, we prayed for peace, and there must have been a ceasefire, because it's just been so quiet. And just as Shabbos ended, I went to get my phone to check to see, what's going on. What were the conditions of the ceasefire? And we heard the loudest boom that I've ever heard in my life. It sounded like it was right in our yard. It was such a loud boom. It just planted fear in our hearts. We realized how close this is. We realized how not in control we were of what was going on around us. I was so certain that everything is fine and dandy, and all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, it was just like boom, and then another one, boom. It was just, the house was shaking. Sirens started going off. Apparently, they had blown up gas trucks that were heading towards Kiev to refuel the tanks, and the Ukrainian army was blowing up these gas tankers, and the entire truck full of gas was exploding, blowing up. It was incredible sounds. And at that point, I pretty much came to the realization, and I think everyone in my community is with me on this, that we are in the hands of God. There's absolutely nothing we can do to change the situation. We're just in God's hands, and He is taking care of us. And we have to do whatever we can on a spiritual level, because on a physical level, there's nothing really that we can do. My community is saying Tehillim from morning to night. They go down to the bomb shelters with a Tehillim. On one of, I think it was Sunday night, maybe, we had our nightly class with the men, and one of the men said, now you guys know how the Jewish people in Israel feel on a daily basis. You have sirens and rockets falling on their communities, and now we can feel a little bit of what they go through. So another man said, yeah, but in Israel, they have the Israeli army. They have defense systems that are taking down 90% of the rockets coming in, and they have an army to protect them. We don't have that. All we have is the book of Tehillim, the Psalms. That's all we have to protect us. And the other man said, so what would you rather have, the Israeli army or the Psalms? You want God protecting you, or you want the Israeli army protecting you? And everyone said, we'll take God's protection. We have Tehillim, and we're going to say Tehillim all day long. That's that's their faith. When you feel that you're in God's hands, it brings this calmness that you're seeing right now through the screen. That's what it is. That's really what it is. Inside, I'm petrified. This is really a front. Very, very scared inside. Okay.
Rabbi Levitansky, is there a particular mitzvah? You mentioned about neshek. We talk about the men's right to bear arms, and we talk about tefillin, to bear arms. Is there a mitzvah you would like to encourage those who are listening? The bottom line is action, and the power of a mitzvah goes a long way and really helps you and your community and all those people who are in harm's way. Is there any particular mitzvah you'd like to encourage?
Absolutely, and there's no question about it. The mitzvahs that people are doing, the tehillim that people are saying, that is really what is keeping people safe, and that is what is going to change this into a peaceful ending. My outlook on this is as follows. Okay, this is not a war or an invasion that anybody can explain. What's going on, the magnitude of what's going on around us right now is not, you cannot explain it in any way, shape, or form. And it's coming with such force in such a powerful way that it seems like it's unstoppable. Our response should be the same. We need to do things that make no sense. So if there's a mitzvah that you want to do or feel you should be doing, but you're not doing it because you're not ready for it yet, invade that mitzvah. Go for it. Do it. You haven't put on tefillin every day yet, or once a week, whatever it is. Put up a mezuzah on your door. Whatever it is that you feel is that there's something stopping you from doing a mitzvah. Push through that barrier in an inexplainable way. Don't explain it to yourself. Just do something crazy that you can't explain to yourself even why you decided to do it, and do that mitzvah for the sake of security of the Jewish people and the entire population in Ukraine today. I truly believe that if we do senseless acts of kindness, senseless acts of a mitzvah that nobody would expect me to do, that's going to do it. That's going to break through. How many people are contemplating if they should kosher their kitchen, and the difficulties that might bring upon them, and I don't want to bother the rabbi. Sorry, rabbis, I'm giving you work. Don't think about it. Just take that step forward. You'll see that in the end, you're going to be happy about that decision. It'll be so encouraging to you that you're taking that step and you're doing it, and you're going to feel good about it. You're going to realize how much it's changing your life and how much it's changing the world and making this world a better place.
I did want to also welcome Chabad of Manchester from Vermont. Manchester, Vermont. Thank you so much for joining us. Rabbi Levitansky, how is your wife handling this? How is she doing? They say before every strong man, there's even a stronger woman behind him.
Absolutely. And my wife has been extremely encouraging, keeping the calm here, making sure that everybody has what they need. And I should also add, that we don't have a lot of time to think about these things. I've been on a lot of Zooms. A lot of people want to know, reporters are calling from all parts of the world. They want to hear what's going on the ground. Besides for that, we have our community who we have to deal with, and from 6 in the morning until 6 at night, we're running around helping people. There's also the technicalities of trying to get funds through the bank system. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. There's all kinds of things that are, it just that at a certain point, there isn't really time to think about the reality of what's going on, which is a good thing, I think, at the end of the day.
Okay, thank you so much, Rabbi Levitansky. We really, really appreciate your time, and we want to end up with a prayer. And everyone, please open up your hearts and think about Rabbi Levitansky and his wife and his family and all the Jews in Ukraine and all the people of Ukraine, that God should protect them from all harm, and we should only hear good news. If Rabbi Shmukler if you could please recite Psalm 121.
Yes, I want to say, Rabbi Levitansky, as someone who grew up next to you in Los Angeles, it's inspiring to see what you're doing on a daily basis. Thank you. So please join us together. It's on your screen, Psalm 121. We're going to first do it in Hebrew, and then we'll do it together in English. Shir lamalot esa einai el haharim me'ayin yavai ezri. Ezri me'im adinai aisei shamayim va'aretz. Al yitain lamet raglacha, al yanum shemracha. Hine layanum v'layishan shemer Yisrael. Adinai shemracha, Adinai tzilcha al yad yeminecha. Yoimam hashemesh lo yakeka, v'yareach ba'layla. Adinai yishmarcha mikol ra, yishmar es nafshecha. Adinai yishmar seischa ve'yacha, me'ata v'yad olam. Together in English. A song for ascents. I shall raise my eyes to the mountain. From where will my help come? My help is from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He will not allow your foot to falter. Your guardian will not slumber. Behold, the guardian of Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your guardian. The Lord is your shadow. He is by your right hand. By day, the sun will not smite you, nor will the moon at night. The Lord will guard you from all evil. He will guard your soul. The Lord will guard you going out and you're coming in from now and to eternity.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. I'm going to post a link once again, and please donate. And I think, Rabbi Levitansky, I heard you in another place, another Zoom meeting, you mentioned about what it would take and thousands of dollars to get a shipment either from west towards you. And in today's climate, you have to bribe people. It's not so simple. You have to pay top dollar. If you think the trucking prices in the United States is difficult, you have no idea. So the basic necessities go a long way. Thank you everyone so much for joining us. And we should only hear good news.
We should hear only good news from everywhere around the world. And the most important news that we're waiting for now is that Mashiach is here. And we're going to have peace and harmony in the entire world. This is all going to end just as quickly as it started. So thank you all for your support. It was great to participate here.
Thank you, Rabbi Levitansky.